The tale of Robert Kubica is perhaps one of the most famous in all of Formula One. He is without a doubt one of the fastest and most talented Formula One drivers we have ever seen. He is one of the greatest what-if stories in the sport and was meant to reach great heights, only reached by the sport-stop racing talents. Unfortunately for him, his career was cut short when he was essentially in his prime, and we never seen the certain success that was forthcoming. But let's go back to where it all began.
I know Robert. I've been racing him since I was in go-karts, since I was 13, 14 I believe. And even back then, he was one of the best drivers I ever raced with.
Robert Kubica began his racing career in karting and quickly made a name for himself as a talented young driver. He competed in various karting championships in Poland and Europe, and in 2000, he won the Polish karting championship in the KF2 class. In 2001, Kubica made the transition to single-seater racing and competed in the Formula Renault 2000 Euro Cup and the Italian Formula Renault Championship. He dominated both series, winning the Euro Cup title with 6 victories and the Italian Championship with 9 wins. In 2002, Kubica continued to race in Formula Renault and also made his debut in the Formula 3 Euro Series. He finished third in the Euro Series with 2 wins and 9 podium finishes, and he also won the Formula Renault 2.0 West European Cup. Kubica's success in junior categories caught the attention of Formula One teams, and in 2003, he signed with the Sauber team as a test driver. He continued to race in various categories and won the 2004 World Series by Renault title with 8 victories. Robert Kubica started his F1 career in 2006 with BMW Sauber as a test and reserve driver. He immediately found himself on the starting grid for his debut race in Hungary after Jacques Villeneuve was unable to compete due to headaches following his incident in Germany. This was a result of the crash Jacques Villeneuve had at the Hockenheimring and BMW Sauber's inability to help him recover. Robert qualified 10th, ahead of teammate Nick Heidfeld, to become the first ever Polish F1 driver. Robert finished 7th in the race, but was subsequently disqualified because his vehicle was underweight. The team considered the possibility of putting him in a full-time racing environment until the conclusion of the season, providing him valuable experience prior to 2007, when he was anticipated to be signed to a full-time Formula One seat. Robert finished third at Monza in his third career race. By this time, he had pleased almost everyone and was unquestionably one of F1's rising stars to watch. Robert Kubica's 2007 season remained solid despite one of the most terrifying accidents in F1 history. He skipped the next race at Indianapolis and went on to record 2 straight fourth-place results in France and Great Britain. Robert was confronted with the worst accident of his career up to that point, but he shrugged it off like it was nothing and completed the season in steady form, placing 6th in the standings. 2008 was the year Robert arose after retiring in Australia. Robert went on a bit of a spree, finishing 2nd in Malaysia, 3rd in Bahrain, 4th in Spain, 2nd in Turkey, 2nd in Monaco, and 1st in Canada. It was an emotional win and a feel-good moment for everyone. Note that he had his massive crash a year prior, on the same track in Canada. It is now considered one of the greatest redemption stories of the 2000s. Robert remained steady in 2009, accumulating an additional 3 podiums, 2 P3 finishes, and a P2 to tie for 4th place in the standings with Kimi Räikkönen. Robert Kubica qualified 4th in Australia, and according to BMW Motorsport director Mario Thyssen, he would have won the race if not for a collision with Sebastian Vettel. It was a difficult season for Kubica, who struggled for pace after the introduction of BMW's double diffuser later in the year, and he was plagued by unreliability. Robert nonetheless managed to finish 4th in Spa and 2nd in Brazil. Despite BMW's exit from Formula One at the conclusion of the 2009 season, leaving him a free agent, quickly picked up by Renault. It was reported that Ferrari had given Felipe Massa until the British Grand Prix to prove his worth, or Maranello would make a move for Robert Kubica. However, Ferrari re-signed Massa for the next season, so Kubica remained at Renault. Renault retained Kubica for the 2011 season, but rebranded as Lotus. Robert Kubica participated in the Andorra Rally 2 days later. He unfortunately came off the track at high speed and smashed into a barrier. His car was stuck in the barrier for nearly an hour before he could have been rescued and rushed to the hospital. The severity of his injuries was utterly catastrophic. His right forearm was partly severed, and during surgery, a portion of it was amputated. Additionally, he had complex fractures in his elbow, shoulder, and leg, as well as extensive blood loss. The Renault driver was placed in an induced coma overnight. The doctors indicated his life is not in danger, but a complete recovery would take time. It was impossible for Robert to begin the Formula One season due to the severity of his injuries and the uncertainty of his recovery schedule. He was discharged from the hospital on the 24th of April 2011, and it was announced in November that he would not be able to race in the 2012 season. Robert's career seemed to be cut short, and fans never got to see him race for Lotus in 2012 when they created a very good car. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse. Robert broke his leg after falling at his residence in Italy, necessitating more surgery. Robert would later return to motorsports, racing in Rally, GT3, LMP1, and testing Formula E cars at Donington Park. Robert's Formula One comeback would occur in 2017 when he tested for Lotus, marking his first return to the sport since 2011. Fans were ecstatic to see him return, even if it was just for testing. Robert lost so many years of racing opportunities. Renault even hinted at a full-time comeback, stating that Robert still had speed and might return to F1. On October 11, 2017, Kubica tested for Williams driving their 2014 car. As Felipe Massa was poised to retire at the end of the season, he rapidly became a viable alternative for Williams. He did an end-of-season test and was 6th quickest. Robert Kubica returned to Formula One in 2018 as a test and reserve driver for Williams. He also confirmed that he had signed a deal to race with Alonso for Ferrari back in 2012. Imagine the lineup that would have constituted. Ferrari sensed Robert's potential and understood what he was capable of. This is unquestionably a role in the enormity of the what-if scenario. We have no doubt that he would have excelled as a Ferrari driver. In 2019, he received a full-time seat, alongside George Russell at Williams. It was fantastic to see Robert return to the sport he was forced to quit in 2011. It was another exciting occasion, but the car Williams produced that season was certainly one of their worst ever. He finished 19th in the standings with only 1 point. Robert announced that he would leave the team in 2020 and joined Alfa Romeo as a reserve driver, where he remains to this day. He filled in for Kimi Räikkönen at the Dutch Grand Prix, where he finished 15th, and in Italy, where he finished 18th in the sprints and 14th in the Grand Prix. He participated in 4 free practice sessions in 2022. It's hard to accept what happened to Robert Kubica. He was the ultimate up-and-coming driver. He had the same level of talent and potential as Max Verstappen has today. Robert Kubica at Ferrari would have simply been incredible. Robert could have won it all in his prime. We all knew Ferrari were interested in him, but when he finally confirmed that a contract had been signed, it was simply a wow moment. It was the drive at a top team that he deserved, and even though Ferrari fell off in 2014, it would have opened doors to bigger opportunities. That wraps up today's video. We appreciate you taking the time to watch the episode today. We hope that you liked the film and that it was informative to you. We publish new content every 2 days, so be sure to check out our other videos and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the exciting stuff that will be published in the days and weeks ahead.